going to do, guys, is I've put a little slideshow together for the first time. So for those that don't know, this is the fourth of the jungle trips. So first one was Borneo, then Guatemala, then India was last year, and then this one is the fourth one. So, and for the first time, I put a few slides together just to give people a flavour and an idea of where, what it'll look like. If you haven't been to the jungle, it's hard to explain how it feels, but yeah, it'll kind of give a bit of a flavour to it. So I'll walk you through it, the 3 phases, and then I'll talk about next steps, and then you can ask any questions as we go through. In terms of next steps, of course, this is a no obligation. So I know some people are just watching because they're interested, but some of you might be watching with an idea to, maybe it's for me. But I'm happy to have a call with anyone if you're unsure, on the fitness side or the preparation side or anything like that. So we can either talk now with everyone if you want a private chat, then just email or phone call. Okay. All right, I'm going to share the screen. So as Roshan mentioned earlier, I have done this presentation already to the people that have been on previous ones, because I always kind of open it up to them first. And the video bits in it didn't quite work. So hopefully I'm going to do it slightly differently this time, and hopefully it will. Okay, I can't see your faces now, but can someone just let me know that you can see the slides?
All good, yeah.
Yeah.
Great, thanks.
Yeah, it works.
Great. Okay, I'm going to press play on the slideshow, and then if it changes, just someone let me know, because obviously I can't see anyone making any hand gestures. Okay, so the next jungle expedition. So it's going to be March, April 2025. It is tied down more than a 2-month thing, but it's probably going to cross over those 2 months. It may change by a few days, but it's going to be end of March, early April, and it'll be a 2-week period there that we go. So about just over a year, about 15 months or so. So plenty of time to prepare, get the kit, get the skills, get the fitness, and get yourselves ready. Okay, so the destination is Cambodia. Hopefully you can see that. So it sits between Vietnam and Thailand. It's stunning jungle in that part of the world. It's quite close to Borneo, where we've been before, in Brunei, where I did some jungle training. And it's obviously the Vietnam jungle, which everyone has seen images of on the TV over the years. So in terms of whereabouts in Cambodia, we'll fly into Siem Reap, where near Angkor. You'll hear that word again in a minute, but that's an area where there's some just amazing temples. Then also circled is Phnom Penh, the capital. We'll go there for 1 night. The expedition is going to be in the Cardamom Mountains. You can see circled, the triangle that's circled. It says mountains. They're not particularly high, certainly not as high as India, less than 1/3 of the height of that, but still lots of up and down. So it's more up and then down, rather than lots of climbs. And for those that went, it'll be very similar to the Borneo kind of terrain. And then the final circle is a little island just off the coast that again will come up in a bit. So they're the key areas, and then that's them circled in a live map. Couple of key country facts. So the average temperature about the time we're going to go is kind of 30 degrees, so hot, but humid too. Average of 4 days rain a month, so we may or may not get rain, or we might get all 4. But we're going just either side of the rainy season. So generally I do these in spring and autumn, which sits just either side of the rainy season. So you'll get a bit of rain, and it'll certainly be a lot of moisture. The rivers will be full, but it won't be raining every day. And then the highest elevation is 1,659 meters. Not to say we'll go that high, and again that's about the same as Borneo. Okay, so Three phases to the expedition. So phase one will be the acclimatization phase. That's the arrival, just getting used to the heat and the humidity, and a couple of great activities that you're going to see about shortly to get used to it. Then the expedition itself will be 6 nights, 7 days, where we're in the jungle and kind of uncontactable. And then we come out for the rest and recuperation phase of 3 nights and then back home. Okay, so phase one. So day one, arrival, we arrive in Siem Reap, and we'll be staying at this hotel. It's a lovely hotel, a bit like Borneo was, chance to just rest, relax a little bit on arrival, ready for a really busy day on day two. So day two is going to be a mountain bike tour of the Angkor temples. So they're from the Khmer Empire, stunning temples. And there's kind of routes that you can take around the back that are kind of, there's people there. So this isn't the expedition phase, it's acclimatization phase. But what a great way to just get used to the heat, the humidity, cycling around on the bikes, up and down the hills and having a look at the temples. And that's going to be a full day. So you'll be looking at kind of these sort of temples. It'll be a guided tour. And we'll be taken around to have a look at them all, ending up at the end of the day at the place they call the Bath of the Kings, where I'm not sure if you can still bathe in there, but yeah, this was one of the main temples. So then back to the hotel that night. Be a full day, be quite tired. Alcohol consumption will be very limited because it really, as you know, it leads to dehydration, and that's something you don't want in this kind of terrain. So like pre-jungle, we're really low, go light or not at all on alcohol consumption. We'll save that for the end. So a night, then up really early the next morning before sunrise, and the next morning is sunrise at the main Angkor Wat temple. So you've probably heard of it. It's the Tomb Raider temple. It's a private guided tour. We'll go around the outside, go inside, and go right to the top and see sunrise from the top. It's the Lara Croft temple, so it's the temple from that movie, and it just looks absolutely stunning. But that's quite a short trip. So once we've done that, we'll come back, check out the hotel. This is still the inside of the temple. Yeah, it kind of famously, it's got the fig trees that have kind of grown up through the temples. And then we'll check out the hotel, and then we've got a road move to the capital. It all looks like flash hotels at the moment, not a lot of jungle, but don't worry, we'll get to that. So this is the hotel we'll be staying at in Phnom Penh, the capital. There's a potential that a new road will have been built, which may bypass this step. I'm unsure about that yet. It'll just depend on whether that road's built, and we'll get to the jungle earlier. Or I may keep this step in, I don't know. But it'll be good to visit the capital. We'll stay at this hotel because it'll be a good, I think, 4 or 5 hour road move from Siem Reap to the capital. So we'll have a night here, and then early the next morning will be the journey to the village where we'll enter the jungle from. And I'm quite excited about this bit. I've been trying to get it on all of the ones previously and haven't been able to. And one of the most remarkable things I did in my army jungle training was a helicopter flight low over the top of the canopy, and I haven't been able to source it until this time, and I've been able to source it this time. So we'll be flying in this kind of helicopter. I'm not sure if that'll be the color, but that's the model, and there'll be a number of shuttle runs taking everyone low over the canopy into the jungle and then dropping off inside with all your kit. Like I say, I'm not sure whether it'll be an ex-military one or a civilian one, but I'm really excited about this part of it. And I don't know if this will play. Just let me know. You'll hear it, but you may not see it. I'll just see. Hang on. There we go.
Yep, that's moving.
Great. So it's a bit jittery, but that feeling of flying low over the canopy with the door open and just seeing trees as far as the eye can see is just such an amazing experience. You know, one of my signature experiences, I think. So that was obviously military, but it won't be too much different to that. There'll be quite short trips, kind of, you know, I guess 10 minutes or so, but that'll be enough. And any longer, and it would take us all day to insert with the size of the team. So then that's it. Day 4, we're in the jungle, in the Cardamom Mountains. This is the exact route we're going to take hasn't been recce'd yet. So there's guides that know of the area, but I mean, that's not that surprising because, you know, it's hard to recce jungles because they change every time you go in. But we're just looking at the exact route that's going to take in some great features. It's a jungle that's full of rivers, waterfalls, pools, that kind of thing. And we'll make sure that there's some great things on it. But it's the next big thing that's going to be explored in Cambodia. So it hasn't really been explored. It's, you know, Cambodia is a huge country with a population of just over 10 million. So, you know, less than the size of London. So most of Cambodia is kind of pretty unexplored. So this is kind of what it looks like. As you can see, you got the rivers, waterfalls, quite a lot of wildlife, as you can imagine. And these are some pictures I've seen of, so these are some of the local guys that have been sent through to me on one of their recce's. So you can see again that those that came to Borneo, it'll be a bit like that, you know, as you imagine a jungle would be, kind of wading across the rivers, some quite steep climbs. And, you know, the kind of scenery that you would imagine and expect. And there's another, this may play, let's see if it does, yeah. So this is a waterfall in the area, the region that we're likely to be going. In Borneo, we had to climb up some waterfalls, but we wouldn't be climbing up that one. They were a bit smaller the ones we climbed up. Okay. Can you see these videos, guys? Are they playing?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, and then so on the 7th day, on day 7 we come out. Hopefully all of us still intact and there. I joke, but yeah, I'm sure we will. And then it's a short road move to the coast, and then we will get that's the end of the jungle phase, and then it's the R&R phase. So we'll be getting speedboats across to one of the Ko Islands. They're like desert islands. There's lots of them off the coast of Thailand, Cambodia, and we'll spend the next 3 days there. So let's see if this will play.
Yep.
It's usually they're like speedboat taxis, and then we'll have 2 or 3 of them probably for a short move across the water to one of the islands. And we're staying on that one, so it's TAMU on Koh Rong. I've got Koh Ring there, it's Koh Rong. It's the TAMU Hotel. Looks like a lovely hotel. There's a couple of different options for rooms. I haven't quite finalised that yet, but there's kind of these sort of beachfront rooms. This is the resort, so looks not too shabby. And it's a great time to kind of rest, heal the body a little bit, put some weight on because you've lost a lot in the jungle, and especially, you know, with the hot, humid ones. I think Borneo, which is kind of this area, is the one where people lost the most weight while they were in. And it's a good chance to put that back on. But mostly it's to give yourself that space and time to reflect on the trip, share the memories and the experience with the people that you went with, and just kind of cement in that experience really, over some nice food and some nice relaxed swims and a few relaxed drinks. And it's a really important part of the trip, just to reflect on what you've done, what you've achieved, and to cement in those kind of memories of a lifetime. Okay, and then day 14 is the return to the UK. So next stages. In fact, I'll come off share now and I can talk you through this.
So they'll probably
Okay.
ask you questions now, won't they?
Yeah.
So you'll
All right, guys.
we'll
So
keep till when?
yeah, okay, it's up to you. Yeah, you can stay if you want more.
Oh.
Okay, so did all that make sense? Could you see it all? And
Yeah.
thumbs up,
Good
thumbs
one.
down.
Good stuff. Thanks,
Good.
Matt.
Very
Great.
good.
Great. Okay. So firstly, any questions from anyone?
What's the political situation in Cambodia? Was it a safe place at the moment?
Yeah, and I always do this through a very big, very professional company. So, well, I say do it through. They kind of handle the travel arrangements and put me in touch with some guides in country, and I work with them to kind of shape it. But yeah, in terms of the location, and I know Christoph had mentioned some things earlier. Yeah, it's safe and stable, and they just wouldn't entertain sending a group there. It's too reputationally risky for them, plus for me too. So yeah, it's stable and safe. We have to prove the routes and just check those, but yeah.
Could you say a bit more about the climbs? Is it sort of sheer or what sort of angle, kind of, for how long for?
Yeah, it's a good question. So the climbs will be, it could be you could be climbing up for the better part of an hour or so, hour and a half. Some of the climbs, for parts of them, you'll be holding on to trees, roots, that kind of thing. So 2-3 points of contact probably. But again, it won't be anything that's sheer or how do I say it? Or that I or the guide think that is a danger to people there, because it's just too risky. There might be moments where, and that the guides will carry a rope, where we string a rope and you can clip into it, and we'll move through that way to keep safety. But generally speaking, it's kind of up and down. So, but that said, I kind of sit in the middle and gauge the pace. So if I think people are struggling a bit, then I'll just call a halt, give people 10 minutes to get their breath back, sit down, and take in the view, the experience, the jungle. And there's lots of that to stop and kind of savor and soak in the experience. So it's not like the army where we're on a route march and we've got to get to this point by this time. You can we can camp wherever we need to stop. Everyone's got the kit that facilitates that. It's not designated campsites we're going to. Where we're going, probably no one's ever slept before. So you'll have the skills and the kit and the capability to do that when you go. So yeah, the idea is to enjoy it and savor it, as well as challenging yourself a little bit too, and it'll be that.
Cool.
Does that
Thanks.
answer the question, Hayden?
Yeah, thank you.
Great. Hi, Nathan. Any other questions? Or hey, Rich, any thoughts, any comments?
I have a question about managing your wet kit.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're trekking through rivers and stuff, you're obviously going to need additional kit.
Yeah,
Okay.
good question. So you have a wet kit, dry kit routine. So during the day, you'll have 2 sets of clothing. Your day kit, which is wet kit, that you wear through the rivers, and it'll get just as wet with sweat, which sounds a bit off. But there's nothing in the jungle anyway as nice as at the end of the day when you're hot and sticky and sweaty, and you just go down to the river and you just open up your sleeves and open up your boots, and you lie in the river and let the water run through your clothing and your body, and it's just so cooling and refreshing. And then you just wash your kit off, take it off, wring it out. It probably won't dry by the morning, so the unpleasant part of that is putting wet kit back on, but you'll have a set of dry kit that you keep dry and sacrosanct in your kit, and as soon as we stop, you'll put that on. Or depending on what the mosquito situation is like, because believe it or not, we didn't really have mosquitoes on any of the trips, because some of it's at the time of year that you go. In the army, I was always infested with them, but on the trips I've done and taken people, like Borneo, there was none, so people just walked around in boxer shorts at the end of the day, and or kit, and it was just lovely, and you didn't need to put your dry kit on, but it needs to be there, and it needs to be dry in case you need it. Cool.
I've got a question, Matt.
Yeah.
What's the weight of the kit bag that's normally you expect to carry?
It'll be about, good question, it'll be about 24, 25 kilograms, something like that, depending on how much food you take. I'll give you advice and guidance on all of that. It's funny in the jungle because your appetite isn't that great because it's a hot environment. It's different in cold environments, but you won't be that hungry. But it's really important that you eat, and you eat the 3 meals a day, because the draw on your energy levels will be big. Your body's got to cope with the heat, it's got to cope with the terrain, got to cope with the sweating. So as well as needing to drink, and the other reason you're not so hungry is you're drinking so much water to replenish the fluids that you're losing. But you do need to eat, because things can, not to scare anyone, but things can catch you out quite fast. On one of the trips, we had a guy that was under a bit of pressure in the morning. A couple of things happened at night, and he thought, well, I'll skip breakfast and just catch up on my timings. And then he collapsed later in the day, and who knows, but I'm pretty sure it was linked to not having had breakfast and not having had that input of energy into his body. So you've really got to, it's an environment where you've really got to stay on top of your personal admin and your basic skills. I mean, there's a reason that the SAS does their selection in the jungle, the main part of their selection in the jungle. It's a tough environment. It's an amazing environment. Out of all the ones I went to, it's the one I loved the most. And if you do things right, and if you're part of the group, the team, you'll be trained in it, educated in it. I'll talk through it. I'll give lots of briefings. But you can't pay lip service to it. You do need to do the things that you should. And if you do, you're fine. And it's the most vibrant, fullest environment you'll ever go to. With sights, sounds, smells, the things you'll experience. But you do need to be on your game.
I was just about to say, I'm ex-army. I didn't do pretty much any jungle training, although they did go to Borneo. I missed that trip. But my point was, we're not going to get the survival training per se to be able to live off the land, are we? I mean, we'll pick up tips, but I imagine we're going to be self-sufficient. We're going to be carrying everything we need. Is that right?
Yeah,
it's not
exactly.
Like we're going to be
so we're
going out with a packet of bread and then we've got to survive for the next 12 days on the land. Or are we going to do some of that?
No, we won't. We'll be taking all our own food in, and that's not to say we won't on a future one, but the problem with survival is it takes all your time, and you don't really get time to do anything else.
Yeah. And with that, if it goes Pete Tong, and the proverbial shit hits the fan, and there is a problem, what we call Kazivac? You're in the middle of nowhere. What's the score?
So there's a full Kazivac plan. Everyone will be insured, and there's a Kazivac plan that I'll go through with the locals in terms of if we need to, either helicopter or all the way back to the closest medical point. Well, there'll be a doctor as part of the team. There'll be locals that are trained in local medicine and administration of it, and first aid. Then there'll be the closest medical point in the village that we left, and then the next city, and then all the way back to the UK. So there'll be a full Kazivac plan and route all the way back, just like you would in the army. Yeah.
And last question: actual physical martial arts training. How's that divided, or is it just ad hoc as we go along?
So unlike some of the trips, like the camp and things, I don't do any like martial arts training on it. But of course, the whole thing is systemic: the breath work, the movement, staying on top of yourself, managing your energy levels. In fact, one of the guys he's probably coming again on this one. He came on the first two. He said, I never really understood the breath work until I came to the jungle, and said, now I get it.
Yeah.
Great. Any other questions, guys?
Sorry, Matt, I ran out of power then. I had to come back in. I had another question about in terms of preparation,
Yeah.
and fitness and stuff like that. Do you kind of have or do you suggest a kind of like a routine to go through leading up to it, like walks and packs?
Yeah. Yes, there is. So as soon as someone signs up, we'll speak. I'll speak to everyone that signs up, so I get a chance to, through conversation, make sure it's a good fit for them. And then there's so everyone will get a full kit list, a full training plan, and in the training plan it'll go through, depending on when you join, there's a kind of a week by week plan of increasing weight. You're making sure you got got your boots early, got your pack early, how to fit it. There's a series of videos that goes with it. So there's a full kind of training plan that will go with it when you sign up. And I'm here, for any questions. And also, I'll let people know when I do training walks and things, and people are welcome to come along and join, and I can take people out as well.
Okay.
So it's a great way if you want to kind of get on top of your fitness again. It's a great focus point to do that. And
can you give us an end goal of where we should sort of be at the end of it?
Yeah. So it's a progressive plan to the end goal of it. I mean, essentially, you need to be able to carry a 25 kilogram pack all day, and be able to do it again the next day. So kind of the training culminates with a day and then another day of carrying the kit. And that's kind of, if you can do that, you'll be fine. And I've tried and tested it. This will be the fourth time. And, having that level of, there's other stuff too. So there's some, borrowed from Systema. There's the breath work, there's some mobility work. There's some ground movement that really kind of evenly strengthens you through the body, so that, if you slip, you fall, you kind of, all the small muscles that might get pulled or strained during those times, you really kind of get the chance to go into those and work all of those in readiness.
So being an average Joe, relative, not super unfit, not super fit, how long would you say the build up would take?
Well, I think the plan is 6 months. So it's a 6 month plan to get you to that stage. So what most people do is kind of get there, and then I've put some maintenance schedules in to just stay on top of it. Or if someone joins, and some people do, like with 3 months to go, then we'll have a chat and assess it first, and then adjust it according to how long someone's got. Would anyone who's been before, Christoph, you pretty much worked the plan, didn't you? And you did quite a bit of work in the hills in Switzerland.
Yes. Hi, Matt. Hi, guys. Yes, we tried here just in the hill next to our city. I live in Zurich. And this was well enough for the India trip, which was rather steep. First 3 days and back down again. So that worked well.
Yeah.
Very good plan.
But yeah, you pretty much, as long as you can, put a pack on your back and be able to walk for the day, like up and down, some, challenging terrain, you'll be okay. And as long as the next day you're not absolutely shot and, literally can't move and can't put the pack on your back. But, even then on the India trip, and these things happen, we had a couple of guys that really struggled for different reasons. One was an injury that he picked up just before he came, but he still wanted to go. And you know, you can make almost anything work. But you know, obviously, the ideal for your enjoyment and for the group is that kind of everyone is prepared and ready for it.
But what kind of mileage in a day would be a good thing to aim for? You know, using kind of hills, say the South Downs or something.
Yeah, it's more, I think more in hours really, Henry.
Okay.
Because you know, in the jungle you can walk for 8 hours depending on the terrain and only do, you know, 2-3 miles. Good, depending on, you know, what you've got to get through, how thick the terrain is, how boggy it is, you know, whether there's river crossings you've got to navigate. So it's more about hours with the pack on your back and hours on your feet than miles. But you know, if you work on 6-7 hours, you know, probably a day is about, you know, with stops and with lunch breaks and things, you know, a typical day you'll get up about 6 with first light, be ready to step off by 8. So having done all your admin, you know, you'll have got up, you know, powdered yourself, got your wet kit back on, had some breakfast, got your kit down and packed away, and that, if you think 2 hours is ages of time, you'd be able to sit down and have a relaxed cup of tea watching the sunrise over the hills. You haven't got time. Really, you're on it for 2 hours to get everything done and ready, depending on your level of experience. But then the more experienced people that have been before kind of will cut around and help other people who are newer to it. So, you know, you work as a team. And then we'll walk pretty much from 8 till sort of 3-ish. With, you know, with breaks every sort of hour or so, you'll stop for 10 minutes, and a good lunch break, 45 minutes to an hour, and then last light is probably 6, between 6 and 6. You know, last light at 6, first light at 6, and then that gives you about 3 hours to get everything set up for your nighttime routine. So you know, the reverse really, getting your wet kit off, getting your dry kit on, washing yourself off in the river, having some food. Getting your hammock and your sleeping system all set up, so that you're ready. Because when it gets dark, there's no movement at night. You know, nothing happens at night really. You'll get a full 12 hours sleep, and you'll sleep for the 12 hours. So it's an amazingly healthy 6-7 days. You'll drink loads of water. It's pretty much all you'll drink. You'll be exercising for most of the day. The water will be the cleanest you'll ever drink, and the air will be the cleanest you'll ever breathe. And it's just a stunning, really positive environment of working as a team. It's kind of on every touchstone, really. It's just, you feel amazing at the end of it. Tired, but amazing. And you know, mentally, it just is a complete decompress and reset of your button. You know, you're completely engaged from the time you're in to the time you come out. And you know, I've asked people at the end, you know, how did you find it? And they say, I can't remember a time when I just sat down and thought, I'm bored, you know, what do I do next? You're completely engaged, but in a really wholesome way, you know, for the whole time. There's not much room for all of the outside world.
Is it all right, possible to let us know the cost and like how you pay?
Yeah, so I'll send out the recording. So basically the numbers are, there's 24 spaces. So basically I'm taking in a platoon size. There'll be 3 groups of 8, and then me and the guides. So the cost is 4,800. It might drop a little bit, but work on that at the moment. And then it'll be the flight on top, which will be between 600-800. And deposit to secure your place is 300. And then there'll be a payment plan between now and when we go, that I can detail out. So 12 spots are already filled from people that have been before. So there's 12 spaces left.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Well, any more questions from anyone, guys?
Injections, Matt, is that just routine? Probably quite a few injections for that part of the world.
Yeah. Depends on what you've had before, of course. So the best thing is to go to your local GP, tell them where you're going, what you're doing, They'll know from your history what you need. Some of them will be optional. Some of them will be, you know, I'll have to check whether there's any that you have to have had. And then quite a few of them you can get on the NHS. There may be one or two you have to pay for. That can be anything from kind of 45, 60 pounds to 100 or so, if there's 2 or 3 of them in a course. But it's not too much. On any of them, it hasn't been too much.
Thanks.
Matt, I guess you don't know the exact dates yet, but when do you know the exact dates?
It's going to be work on the first couple of weeks of April. It's up to me really to choose, and I've got to just agree that with the local guys. But it's going to be. The reason I'm in an R-ring is it's my daughter's birthday on the 30th of March, so I probably better be here for that. So it's probably going to be. Hello, Philippe. Good to see you. It's probably going to be the first couple of weeks of April, but I will cement that in. Yeah. If you really want to come, but you absolutely need to know the dates, just pop me an email, and at least I know then, and we can talk about, you know, whether, you know, what stage I'm at with kind of people that have booked on, and where we're looking on the 24th.
It's just because of vacation time, maybe.
Yeah.
Some people might not can come because of they need to adapt with the school vacations, things like that.
Of course, yeah, and that is it's kind of round about Easter holidays, so I'll factor that in too. Yeah,
Easter's early, so you'll be all right.
Yeah.
Matt, do you organize the flights, or do we have to organize them ourselves?
I organise the flights, or you can organise them yourself. So, like, there's a couple of people that have air miles or fly in from other countries, or want to go business or whatever. So, you know, you're perfectly. That's why I separate the 2 costs out. So. I can organise them all, and that's probably the easiest for everybody. But if you particularly want to organise them yourselves, then that option is fine too. Yeah. Hey, Nathan.
Hiya. With regards to sort of like the deposit and everything, what do we do? Just drop you an email and then you'll send us bank details across?
That's it. Yeah. Drop me an email,
right, okay.
and I'll send you the bank details. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Great. Cool. All right, guys. Thanks so much for your time. Great to see you all. I hope you found it interesting or exciting enough to want to be part of it. But it was a pleasure to see you all. And yeah, any questions or anything you want to talk through, just shoot me a message or an email, and we can jump on a call and have a chat through.
Great. Thank you, Matt.
That's lovely. Thank you very much, Matt.
Thank you, Matt.
My pleasure.
Great. Thank you.
And I'll send the recording out as well. So to the people that have been on, I'll send the recording so that if you want to, you know, go back over it, you can.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Great.
Great stuff.
Take care, all.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.